Good afternoon. It's been another day of success for Team GB at the Olympics in Tokyo, with 2 more gold medals, taking the overall tally to 20. The flyweight boxer Galal Yafai won Britain's first gold in the men's flyweight division since 1956, while Joe Chung triumphed in the men's modern pentathlon. And there was more success for the diver Tom Daley. Here's Natalie Perks.
What a moment for Galal Yafai.
From working in a car factory in Solihull to fulfilling your lifelong Olympic dream, it's been quite the 6-year ascent for Galal Yafai.
So we are underway then.
In the men's flyweight final, Carlo Palam of the Philippines stood in his way, but Tokyo represented Yafai's shot at redemption, and he was determined to deliver a masterclass.
Right, he's down. There you go.
His aggressive start won him the first round unanimously with the judges, and he never looked back.
Yes! And there is confirmation.
I'm Olympic champion, man. I'm just going to chill, relax with my family and friends, and then look at my next chapter after.
You can hear the vocal encouragement coming from Chung.
Yesterday, Kate French won gold in the women's modern pentathlon. Today, Joe Chung was determined not to be outdone. He'd led from the very start of the fencing, and with only 2 fences down in the show jumping, the world #1 took a 12-second lead into the final run and shoot. In the high-stakes game of laser tag, Chung showed composure, endurance and speed to beat Egyptian Ahmed El Gheni in the last 200 metres and complete a glorious double for Team GB. This was Britain's first male gold in history.
I've always said I want to be the best in the world at something, and I've been world #1, but it's not the same as winning a world champs or an Olympics, and this is literally a dream come true.
In the Olympic final for Great Britain's Tom Daley.
After the joy of synchronised gold, today Tom Daley was flying solo. As his son Robbie watched on from home with his husband, there was no knitting to alleviate the nerves this time. Just 6 dives between him and the individual gold he so craved.
Yes! Get in!
He got off to a cracking start, but his remarkable Chinese rivals soon turned the screw. Zhao Yuan became the first man in history to win Olympic gold in 3 different disciplines. His compatriot Yang Zhan took the silver. For Daley, bronze and a little piece of British diving history.
Well, that bronze is Tom Daley's 4th Olympic medal at his 4th Olympic Games. Just like a fine wine, he seems to be getting better with age. So, what's next?
I don't know. I've always said I'll keep going as long as my body will let me, or if I become an Olympic champion. But now I've become an Olympic champion, I'm kind of like, oh, that kind of felt good. I want to try and do that again. But, you know, I don't know. Hopefully they'll have the mixed synchro events in the Olympics next time, or the team event, and that'll be something that will definitely be worth coming back for.
That's something for him to chew over then for the next 3 years. Natalie Perks, BBC News, Tokyo.
There's been success in the velodrome too for Great Britain on the penultimate day of the Games. Ethan Hayter and Matt Walls won silver in the men's Madison. And on the track, Josh Kerr took bronze in the men's 1500 metres. With more details, here's Andy Swiss.
They're housemates back in Manchester, and look what they're taking home. In cycling's version of the relay, Matt Walls and Ethan Hayter proved the perfect combination, as a late burst in the Madison saw them surge to the silver.
It's been another superb ride.
There was also success in the athletics, as Norway's Jakob Ingebrigtsen charged to gold in the 1500 metres. Not far behind him was a new British star.
And a brilliant bronze medal for Josh Kerr.
23-year-old Josh Kerr winning Britain's first medal in the men's event since 1988.
You know, I have this weird confidence in myself. Some may call it cockiness, and today I felt like a world beater, and I just had to come out and perform.
There was history, meanwhile, in the javelin. Neeraj Chopra winning India's first ever gold in athletics. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi said his achievement would be remembered forever. But the day's biggest celebrations belong to Japan. For this baseball-mad nation, a first ever gold in the sport after beating the USA. And with each player getting a 10 million yen bonus, the wait has certainly been worth it. Andy Swiss, BBC News.
Well, Great Britain are now 5th in the medals table. Tomorrow, the final day of the Games. There are 13 golds up for grabs. Now let's take a look at the latest government coronavirus figures, and there were more than 28,500 new infections in the latest 24-hour period. That makes an average of nearly 27,000 new cases per day over the last 7 days, so the longer-term trend remains slightly down. 103 deaths were recorded in the last 24 hours. That's an average of 90 a day in the past week. Nearly 89% of adults in the UK have now had their first jab, and more than 74% are fully vaccinated. Well, Wales has moved to COVID alert level 0, meaning social distancing rules and most other restrictions have now come to an end. People can gather indoors and nightclubs can reopen, but face masks will still be required by law in shops and on public transport. Here's our Wales correspondent, Hal Griffith.
It's not quite ripping up the rules, but from today, life in Wales is far less limited. Social distancing is no longer written into law. No need to count how many people meet indoors. Face masks are still mandatory in shops and most indoor spaces, something Emma Kate says she can live with.
I think it's quite a good idea, really, because there's still a lot of vulnerable people. I don't like wearing them, but it's just something we've all had to do, really, isn't it?
For the manager here, it's about keeping customers confident. They can't afford to take risks.
We need to move steadily, gently to complete normality. It isn't going to happen overnight. But we do need to build our trade up, because since we've reopened, we're only taking about 60% of what we took in 2019.
While there's obvious relief at ending some of the restrictions people have had to live with for almost a year and a half, there's already some nervousness about the months ahead. The Welsh Government has warned that the rise of another coronavirus variant could yet mean having to reimpose some control measures. Barring people from the bar again would be unpalatable for many in the beer trade. From today, table service and masks are no longer legally required in Welsh pubs, restaurants and cafes. They hope they've seen the last of lockdowns.
Basically, we've taken no money. We've managed to survive with the brewery. We've got the independent brewery, plus we've been doing home deliveries. But if we hadn't have had that, I don't know if we'd have survived. And I think the pubs in general are struggling.
Everyone hopes today is a first taste of real, lasting freedom. But for now, few are getting carried away. Hywel Griffith, BBC News, Maes Teg.
Britain is sending firefighters to Greece to help battle flames that have forced thousands of people to flee their homes. More than 150 wildfires are burning right across the country, some close to the northern suburbs of Athens. 2 people are known to have died and at least 20 others have been injured. Greece, like many parts of Europe, has been grappling with extreme weather this summer, widespread flooding and colder than average temperatures in Central Europe, and now baking hot weather in the south. Our Europe correspondent Bethany Bell reports now from Athens.
Greece is in the grip of an emergency. Wildfires have been blazing out of control for days. The extreme heat means these forests near Athens are like a tinderbox.
Helicopters keep returning here to try and put out this fire, but it isn't working yet. This is the main north-south motorway near Athens, but it's been closed for 2 days because of all the fires round here, and the strong, scorching winds aren't helping.
As the fire spreads down the hillside, people are frightened for their houses. In Athens, there's screams for help as the flames grow closer. People are desperately trying to put out the fires in any way they can. Thousands of people have been evacuated. Vasiliki in Athens told me she's worried for her family.
A big national tragedy.
Do you live around here?
I don't live here. My sister lives here. But it's horrible for the whole Greece.
This was the scene on the island of Avia last night. Ferries carried hundreds of people to safety after they fled to the beaches. Safe on board, one man filmed the inferno on his phone. The fire burned through a vast area of pine forests. only the sea could stop it. Tonight, Avia is still burning, and the flames are spreading towards one of the island's largest towns. Bethany Bell, BBC News, Athens.
That's it. I'll be back with the late news at 10 past 10. Now on BBC One. Time for the news where you are. Bye for now.